What's the funniest lie a kid has ever told you? I'm a third grade teacher, and last year I had this student named Emma who was absolutely notorious for coming up with the most elaborate lies you've ever heard. Not mean lies or lies to get out of trouble, just completely random, creative stories that made no sense whatsoever. One Monday morning, Emma walked into class with a huge bandage wrapped around her entire left hand. Like, this thing was massive. It looked like she'd gotten into a fight with a blender and lost. Naturally, all the other kids were asking what happened, so I pulled Emma aside during morning work time to check on her. Emma, sweetie, what happened to your hand? Are you okay? Without missing a beat, this 8-year-old looked me dead in the eye and said, Miss Rachel, I was attacked by a wild turkey in my backyard yesterday. I'm thinking, okay, that's actually plausible. We live in a suburban area where turkeys sometimes wander through neighborhoods. Maybe one got aggressive. Oh no, honey, did it scratch you? We should probably call your mom to make sure you don't need a tetanus shot. Well, Emma continued completely serious. It wasn't just any turkey. This was a turkey that had learned karate. I blinked. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, my dad said it must have escaped from some secret government training facility where they teach animals martial arts for national security purposes. At this point, I'm trying really hard not to laugh because Emma is telling this story with the same tone you'd use to explain that 2 + 2 = 4. The turkey knew at least 3 different fighting styles. It did this spinning kick thing that knocked me down, and then it tried to put me in some kind of headlock with its wings. I asked, Emma, how exactly does a turkey put someone in a headlock? Very carefully, she replied, like I'd asked the dumbest question in the world. My dad had to scare it away with a garden hose, but not before it challenged him to a rematch next weekend. The other kids were gathering around now because Emma was getting louder and more animated with her story. But here's the crazy part, Emma continued. Right before the turkey left, it dropped this business card with its phone number on it. Apparently its name is Gerald, and it's been looking for worthy opponents to test its combat skills against. One of my other students, little Mason, raised his hand and asked, can turkeys even read? How did it make business cards? Emma looked at him like he was the slow one. Obviously Gerald has a printing company. How else would he advertise his karate services? At this point, I had to excuse myself to the hallway because I was about to burst out laughing. I called Emma's mom during lunch to check on the hand situation and get the real story. Turns out Emma had been helping her mom make cookies the night before and accidentally grabbed a hot baking sheet with her bare hand. Pretty standard kitchen accident. The bandage was totally unnecessary, but Emma's mom said she'd been begging for one because it looked more dramatic. When I got back to class, Emma had somehow convinced half the kids that Gerald the karate turkey was planning to open a martial arts school in the park behind the library. She'd drawn a detailed floor plan on the back of her math worksheet, complete with a reception desk and a smoothie bar for post-workout refreshments. Miss Rachel, she said when she saw me looking at her drawing, Gerald called during lunch. He wants to offer self-defense classes for our school. Should I tell Principal Davis? I asked, Emma, how did Gerald call you? You don't have a phone in your desk. He called the main office, obviously. Turkeys can't dial cell phone numbers with their wings. They have to use landlines. The best part was that Emma maintained this story for the entire week. Every morning, she'd update the class on Gerald's progress, setting up his dojo. She claimed they were having permit issues with the city because apparently there are specific zoning laws about birds teaching combat sports. By Friday, she created an entire backstory about Gerald's military service, his rivalry with a gang of martial arts trained geese from the next town over, and his dream of competing in underground animal fighting tournaments. Other teachers started hearing about Gerald through their students. The kindergarten teacher asked me if I knew anything about the ninja turkey situation because her kids were too scared to go outside for recess. Finally, I had to have a gentle conversation with Emma about the difference between creative storytelling and sharing information that might worry other people. She listened very seriously and nodded along with everything I said. Then she raised her hand and asked, but what should I tell Gerald when he calls back? He's really excited about the class field trip to his dojo next month. I told her that Gerald would probably understand if we had to reschedule. Emma thought about this for a moment, then said, you're probably right. He's been pretty busy anyway. Last night he had to fight off 3 raccoons who were trying to steal his black belt. That kid is either going to be a best-selling novelist or a world-class con artist when she grows up. Possibly both. The funniest part is that Emma's mom told me later that Emma had been practicing karate moves in the backyard for weeks after this, claiming she was training to be Gerald's apprentice. She never did admit that Gerald wasn't real, even months later. Sometimes I wonder if she actually started believing her own story.